Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker is all set and ready to introduce many different revelations in this film that will lead to saga-wide implications in this story by writer and director J.J. Abrams and Chris Terrio. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, what's really exciting about Episode 9 is that we do know that we are getting the official return of Darth Sidious / Emperor Palpatine in a very specific and unique way than we have ever seen before in the Skywalker saga, and that Palpatine really is going to be the glue, if you will, the project, of course, that's going to really keep it all together of the Skywalker saga. He's really going to be the main focus of the sequel trilogy within this movie. Now, these past couple of weeks or so, we've been learning a whole lot more about this film, and when it all comes down to one of the concept art descriptions, this is where things begin to get very intense for Episode 9. Now, specifically, what's really intriguing about all of this is that shot descriptions consisting of a rear shot of Rey wielding her lightsaber blade where she is said to be in a confrontation with the Dark Acolyte. It's said that eventually the Dark Acolyte casually walks closer to Rey, where he pulls back his hood and begins to laugh just like Palpatine. As he nears Rey, it's said that the dark energy of the spirit of Sidious begins to decay the body of the Acolyte, where he starts to appear just like Palpatine, where it's described that in this moment in which Palpatine reveals to Rey that he has been watching over both Kylo and Rey for decades and has been pulling the strings of everything that has happened for years. Additionally, it's described that Palpatine is performing the Force Scream attack and spins in mid-air while locking blades with Rey face to face. As both of their blades are locked together, it's said that Palpatine tries to seduce Rey to the dark side of the Force by telling her the truth of the origins of the Jedi and the Sith. Additionally, it's said that this leads to a moment in which Rey uses the Force Repulse technique after denying the turn to the dark, where Palpatine later uses a strike of lightning at Rey, where she is able to block it and force freeze the strike in mid-air, and dissolving the attack. Surprisingly, it's revealed that Palpatine created a false image of himself within Rey's mind to trick her where Palpatine was and how he was really behind her, and attempts to strike with his saber where they are fighting out in a lightsaber duel in a fast-paced fashion while Kylo Ren is injured in the background. So let's go over a couple of parts about this. Now, what's really great about Palpatine in The Rise of Skywalker is you can already tell how ruthless he really is and how they're really going to introduce new types of Force powers. And this is yet another big hint that Snoke was Palpatine all along, at least in the films The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi. I want to go over the power that we just discussed toward the end of this description. What's really interesting is that Palpatine was able to create a false image of himself while using the Force Lightning technique against Rey, where it appeared that he was in front of Rey, but he was really behind Rey, getting ready to strike her down with his lightsaber. So this is very similar to what Snoke did, creating false images, creating, different visual aspects in front of both Kylo Ren and Rey, seeing, both of their own environments. It's similar. It may not be the exact same thing, but it is very similar to what Snoke did in The Last Jedi between Kylo and Rey, where now Palpatine is able to create a false image of himself. Not necessarily a Force projection, it's not that. He's able to literally trick Rey's mind into thinking where he really is, and he's actually behind her as opposed to in front of her. So that's a very interesting power. I don't know what that's going to be called in the movie, but I cannot wait to see exactly what it'll look like on the big screen. But let's go over how the dark side energy is said to decay the Dark Acolyte's body. Now, as the spirit of Sidious pretty much works into full swing here and is overtaking the body of the Dark Acolyte, using its full power, it's actually described that as he walks casually towards Rey, is that the dark side energy begins to decay the flesh of the Dark Acolyte and begins to look and sound more like Palpatine as he nears Rey, and that's where he eventually performs the Force Scream attack, where he spins in mid-air and strikes Rey with his lightsaber. So you can really see how they're really trying to make Palpatine a sinister figure in The Rise of Skywalker. Not just that he's going to be a spirit taking over the body of the Dark Acolyte, but also the dark side energy of the spirit of Sidious is decaying the body every single minute that passes by. So basically, we're going to get this transition, this transition of the new villain literally becoming Palpatine, pretty much, where he's going to deeply resemble Ian, McDiarmid as Palpatine once more in The Rise of Skywalker. So technically, we will have Palpatine in the flesh by different design. And I think that's a very interesting and a right step, by Disney and Lucasfilm to do something very unique and original, as opposed to just bringing the regular Palpatine, back into fruition in Episode 9. So with that being said, I would love to hear what you all have to say, about Palpatine, the Dark Acolyte, Rey, and this whole entire battle that takes place within the third act of Episode 9, and how it all takes place as well, while Kylo Ren is said to be injured in the background. We're not quite sure exactly how he's injured, but from what we have gone over before in the past, it's pretty safe to say it has to do with one of the lightsaber wounds to, of course, his upper thigh area. Anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
Gun in hand, we are alone again. No hiding. From night to moon, we hear them moans again.